Sending Reynolds out of the game feels like a victory lap. I have now gotten out Derek, I got out Lee, I got out Maddie, and then I got out Reynolds. These are 4 players that I was terrified of sitting next to at the end, and I know other people agree.
Oh my god, I can't believe I made it. I can't believe I got to the finale. I am floored. I knew I could do this. I knew I could make it here. I had to push myself. I had to do everything it took, and I did.
I'm so happy to actually be able to win a comp for myself, and the fact that I was able to secure my spot in the finale through just me means a lot to me for this game.
Okay, everybody, we have 7 members, we have an empty seat. Any guesses on who you think is going to join you in a few minutes?
I think we're going to do Reynolds. I think the last, when I was in the game, I felt like there was a need to get him out because he could potentially win the game if he was sitting in the final 3. So I wouldn't be surprised if everyone came together to do that.
I am unfortunately exact same wavelength. Reynolds has always been talked about as one of the top dogs of this game. And unfortunately, I mean, he basically has to win a comp. I can't see him getting that final face-off 1-1. Just, that memory comp is do or die, and I pray to get it.
And also, I know that Antoinette and Molly have taken copious, amazing notes together throughout the game. I know they've been studying a lot, so if there was one comp that I think that Molly or Antoinette could win in this situation, I think I'm betting on them.
Yeah. If it's not Reynolds, I think it's Antoinette.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think we've talked, and I don't think there's any chance that it's Molly sitting there.
Why do you think that?
I think, well, why I think it would be Antoinette if not is I think that people have tried to vote her out pretty repeatedly, including Sam and Reynolds. So I would say if she is available to be voted out and Reynolds is not, that's the shot they'll take.
All right, well, let's find out who it is. Reynolds, you want to fill it in on how you ended up here? How did the final 4 play out?
Yeah, so Sam won the physical challenge, and then Antoinette won the mental challenge, of course. And then 3-1, I ended up winning.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did they give you a chance to pitch for yourself?
They gave me a little bit of a chance, but at the end of the day, there was nothing else they were going to do besides me, so they weren't going to go down all
Good for you.
No. There's a very good reason, because, I mean, just talking with everyone here, you probably had one of, if not the best shot.
Yes.
And I know that sucks to hear.
It means a lot. Thank you all.
When I made my comment on the way out about how I kept saying Reynolds is going to win this game,
Yeah.
I'm sure it came across as shady, but it really was just respect, because you were so untouchable in like every vote and every situation, and I recognized that you were going to be a threat literally in our hand. So nothing but respect to you.
It's a compliment.
Yeah, I'm glad it was
I
taken
never
that
took
way.
it as shady.
Good. I was worried afterwards. I was like, I don't want it to come across that way. So
Meanwhile, I kept saying Reynolds is gonna win because I was trying to manifest it.
As Reynolds mentioned, Sam did win the physical challenge, securing his spot into finale. Let's talk a little bit about Sam's journey on the way to Final 3. What did Sam do well? What did Sam struggle with? And what questions are in your mind about Sam's fate going into tonight?
I will say a big question I have is intentionality. I want to know what Sam used intentionally for his game, how he angled his game intentionally, how he shaped his relationships intentionally. And I don't have those answers, so I want those answers.
I think one thing that Sam did very well was competitively, he was winning competitions all the time. I found the other half of the pendulum, my plan was to have him will it to me, and he was constantly saying, we're winning, and so I literally never had the chance to vote him out so that I could get that other half.
But, I mean, on the other hand, I look at it as, okay, so when Sam did get to vote, how much was he actually in control? Because even when he was in control on one side of the double, he was not in control on the other, and he caught massive flack for it. Like, it's a weird balance of, I feel like every time he makes something that feels right, there's then something else very soon after that feels like it went wrong, or that he wasn't in control of, that he gets hit for.
And ultimately, I think that Sam pivoted a lot in this game, and I don't know about quite the intentionality of that, but he adapted and was really dynamic, regardless of how he feels about any of those moves, which that's fun. It's fun to watch.
I felt really close to Sam throughout my experience in the game, and I feel he did a really good job of minimizing his threat level in the beginning. And when it started to rise, he started winning competitions that kind of got him there. But then you also have to beg the question, what if he didn't win those competitions?
Yeah. And then when he didn't, what if he wasn't given those co-captains? Because multiple times it felt like people potentially gave Sam co-captains, and please correct me if I'm wrong on this, but they almost gave Sam co-captains to advance a target another round and keep themselves in a better position.
Go ahead.
I will agree with that, but also I felt personally that before I was on the jury that Sam might not be the fan favorite. So I think that perception was there for the in-player games at that time.
I think something that sticks out to me is the night before the final 9 round began, there was this universal idea of Sam must go, he is public enemy #1, and he never went. And I do think that is impressive, no matter what we say, he got there. So I think despite a lot of the questions I even have, I can't deny that.
What questions, if any, are outstanding in your minds to help you make your decision on Sam? What does he need to do tonight to earn your vote?
I think he needs to own up to a lot of that, like, final 9 round, where people that were there stayed up all night trying to see if Stan was going to wake up. There was conversations that had. And that whole, like, the next couple rounds, like, the emotional warfare I feel like was in the house, and how much of that was intentional versus, like, the friendships that existed that might have been, I felt, maybe manipulative in a way. So I'm hoping to really see if he owns up on that and, answer some of those questions.
I feel very close to Sam as a friend. I wonder if he can explain, in addition to that, why he thought taking me out when he did helped advance his game. I mean, he got there regardless, but I feel like he would have been the vote if he didn't manage to win one of the competitions. And I think, yeah.
Okay, moving on to Antoinette. She won the mental portion of the Final 3 challenge, securing her spot in finale. Let's talk a little bit about her journey to the end, what she did well, where she struggled, and anything that's in your mind that you're thinking about Antoinette.
I'm not surprised she won the mental part of that last challenge, because I think that's Antoinette's strong suit. Like, I think she was strategic in different ways. She was in rooms. She was also targeted in many different ways, but I think she knew where everyone was positioned at some point. With my own conversations with Antoinette.
As the stats person, I have to say there was only one vote that she was not voting in, and she was vulnerable almost every other time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if you aren't impressed by that, I don't think anything impresses you. Because I am so impressed by someone who can manage to basically filibuster any conversation against them. Mm-hmm. And she didn't really have to care who went home. She just knew it wasn't gonna be her.
I do have a question, just because I know Sam had a number of people that he knew coming into this game, as did Molly. I haven't heard too many people discuss the relationships Antoinette may have had from games prior to this one starting. And for me, I know that this is only my second one and I played in very few games. I know I appreciate someone, anyone gets to the end, it's not easy to do, but if you get to the end without the support of people that you don't have to get to know, build and establish trust from day one, that's gonna help push you ahead in my mind as far as someone to vote for. No disrespect to the other two, but do we know if Antoinette had any relationships prior to this game?
I knew of Antoinette, but I didn't know her personally.
I knew of her, but did not know her personally. We've never spoken before this.
Didn't even know of her.
Okay.
I knew of her lately, but never interacted with her.
So she sounds like she was well known, but not personally known.
Yes.
And to me, that's really impressive.
Yeah.
To be able to make it just making it to the jury section without anyone in your corner coming in. That's, for a lot of people, is not what happened. So making it all the way to the final 3, I gotta give flowers to her on that one. 100%.
Yeah, there was a couple times throughout the game where I heard Antoinette say that she doesn't have anything on her resume. And I'm interested to see what she thinks she has now that she's here.
Mm-hmm. I'm willing to wager she had more alliances than anybody.
Yeah.
I think, who here was in an alliance of more than 2 people with Antoinette?
I was in 2 of them.
I rest my case, Your Honor.
Yeah.
So what questions does Antoinette need to answer, or what does she need to prove tonight to earn her vote?
I think she needs to tell me her story. I think if she can come up here and she's able to tell me her story from the beginning, middle, and end, in a way that's active instead of passive, I think she could very much win my vote over.
I'm also looking forward to hearing Antoinette's story. I feel like I played with her the least with the final 3 that are there, so I feel like I know the least about her game, but I want to be as open-minded as possible to her.
I also want to say, like, on that, she was hard for me to start a relationship with because it did seem like she was a little closed off at first, but we did, like, build that relationship. I would like to hear about, like, what her intentions were coming into the game.
I also want to know, had she had one captain and co-captain, and she was completely safe, what she would have done, who was her final four? Like, if she had to pick once jury started, what was her gameplay up until that point, up until the point?
Was there a move or a vote where she steered the narrative in her favor? Because yes, she was very, very safe, but did she have any pivotal moves or votes in the game that really helped get everybody in?
Alright, last we'll move to Molly. Molly is in the final three by surviving the last social vote. What did she do well? What did she struggle with? What was her path to the end? And any questions you have about her game?
I think socially, Molly was one of the most insulated people in the game. It was a very talked about thing throughout the experience. I don't know how much Molly did beyond that, but I will also say that the social aspect of this game is really the biggest component of it. And she did that really well, so I'll give her that.
Everybody was getting Molly information. Molly knew where everything was at, for sure.
And even when accidentally poisoned with false information that put a massive target on her, she walked that shit back. Like, she made sure that even with potentially the biggest possible target in the game, having the power to just like say, no, I'm not going home, even when that did not exist, she did manage to go, yeah, no, that's not true. I'm going to convince every single person here to stop looking at me, because I could see her doing that the wrong way and getting out very late pre-jury, but she moved that. She basically set herself up where that kind of strengthened her relationships instead of broke them down.
And to speak to that, like, the last pre-jury spot was Steve when I flipped over there. I thought for sure we had a target to get Molly out, but her numbers, her social abilities to gain those numbers, even up here, was super, super strong. And in that vote, she kind of was untouchable.
Hate to marginally play devil's advocate. Molly was phenomenal. I did enjoy my conversations with her, so I'm not knocking her social game. I do think it is easier to help the target stay off of you when you do have people from before the game also advocating for you. And I don't want that to be a notch against her, because she can't help who was here. Like, I'm not mad at her for that at all. It's just the nature of the beast. That being said, there is something to be said for, yes, she was able to keep the target off of her, but again, there's that element that, at least to me, matters, which is if you're able to build a relationship with someone on day one, and they're going to bat for you, which it sounds like she did do very effectively, but she did also have what I would call, I don't want to call it a bowler's handicap, but she did also have that help from people that she knew before the game.
She can't control who she gets cast and not cast.
Yeah.
And it's, go ahead.
I was just going to say, she can't control that, but she can control who she works with.
Right.
And there are plenty of people that she's known for a long time, it sounds like, that she could have let go for someone who she didn't know that well, or for someone who hasn't played in a lot of games. And she chose who she chose to work with. Again, not mad at her, but for someone like me, who I only knew Derek from 2 rounds as a prod member from a game. Other than that, I was completely blind coming into this cast. So I know that you knew her, and that's fine, and I'm not even upset, or there's no problem that you're advocating for her. But for someone like me, it feels like I'm starting at the starting line, whereas certain players are starting at the 30-yard line.
But is it always an Is it always an advantage though to have people that you know from previous games? Because it could be a huge disadvantage.
It can be.
Many games I see somebody like Rachel,
but I don't think there's
like, oh no, I have to play with her. So it worked out, but still, it's not necessarily an advantage to know people. It could be a disadvantage if you have perhaps negative history with previous games.
What does Molly need to do or say tonight to earn your vote?
For me, I need to know about Antoinette and her were so close during this game. They were unbreakable. There was a whole the girls thing, of course, and so I need her to differentiate from Antoinette's game. How did she? What were the differences and how did she outperform Antoinette?
I think that's a really good point. I'd like to know just kind of what Molly's done on her own volition in this game and what got her here.
All right, if there's no final thoughts, we will get set up and we will bring your final three in. And we'll get to turn the tables on them. We'll start asking them questions to determine who deserves your vote and who deserves to represent your season as the winner of season 6.
Period.
Welcome to our season 6 finale. Let's bring in our final three.
Welcome to the finale of season 6. So how this will work, one by one, all three of the finalists will give an opening speech. Then all of the jury members will get to ask a question to the finalists. And then all three members of the finale will get to use some time for a closing statement. Then, after that, all of the jury members will go vote for a winner. Sam, whenever you're ready, and start.
Hey everybody, first I want to say congrats to my fellow competitors. We were having a slaying competition, y'all would eat me up, y'all look beautiful, and y'all played great games. To the folks sitting over there, I just wanted to say thank you. This has been an amazing journey, and I'm lucky enough to say that when I look over there, I have nothing but love for all of you. That being said, I understand if a lot of you have feelings other than love for me. I do want to go ahead and own that my game included a lot of lying, deceit, and manipulation. I do want to add in a quick disclaimer. I did hear some people saying when I cry and feel my emotions out loud that was used as a weapon. That was very real. Those are struggles that I go through, and I'm a work in progress. I'm still working on that. That was never intended to be brought into the game. That being said, my in-game ability to manipulate, combined with my ability to win challenges, ability to make social connections, and use strategic plans, allowed me to bring myself to the end and give myself the best shot at winning. I think that if you look at the game, I believe that I had probably the 3 biggest captainships of the entire season. The first one I want to highlight was with Derek. The Derek blindside was huge. At that time in the game, it was being played very safely, and there were a couple of players who were super well connected, whose names weren't being said. I drafted a team that included Jack, Monty, and Andrew, along with Derek, and I said, look, the 4 of us, we're on the bottom, we can get out Derek right now. And we made a big blindside happen on an incredibly talented player who I thought very well could have won the game. A few rounds later, the Lee vote. I thought, Lee, I was scared as shit to sit next to you at the end, man, and I had a great connection with you, and I liked working with you, but you had to go in order for my game to work. And I was able to make that happen, and at the same time build a bridge with Maddie, who you and I had a rocky relationship, and it was really cool that we were able to find a way to create win-win scenarios that worked for both of us. That was very real, and I had full intentions of taking you to the Final Four this morning, but Reynolds had other plans by winning that competition. And so when that happened, I was like, oh shoot, I've been dead man walking for several rounds now. I know there's a way I go home. However, in talking to Reynolds at the Final 5 round, I was able to minimize my threat level at the end game by downplaying my game, increase other people's threat levels, and lastly, use a piece of leverage. I had a list of trivia answers along with the acronyms for the acronym system I used to win the replicate season earlier in the game that I believed would allow him to win the competition at Final 4 for the memory game. I said, here's the deal. If you give me captainship at Final 5, I will show you this list and teach you the acronyms so you can win the mental challenge at Final 4. When we got into the Final 4, I won the physical competition, and then I fed the answers and the acronyms to the girls so that they would win and be able to take out who I believe was the final boss of the season, Reynolds. You played an amazing game, and Alex said it best on his way out. You were going to win the game at the end, man. I could not have sat next to you. That being said, I really enjoyed playing the game with all of you. I have a ton of other stuff to share and say. I look forward to your questions, and I just ask that you vote for who you truly believe played the best game, made the most impact, and had the most soul moves that they can call their own to bring themselves to the end and win the game.
Hi everybody. I'm super excited to be here. I'm so thankful and so happy to have gotten the chance to work with everybody on this cast and production and everybody here. I have played a very, very social game, and my strategy sort of comes from that as well. Now, I know I might not be the biggest of the physical competition threats. I did take a tumble during one of the competitions, so I know that's not the highlight of what I bring to the table. I came into this game with one big thing that I wanted to focus on, and that was flexibility. Having played this game online before, I knew one of my biggest downfalls was holding on to relationships too long and having too many issues with not being able to move on from next rounds of the game, not being able to move on from the relationships I've made previously to be able to further myself into the game. I made relationships with the people that I needed to when I needed to. I made relationships with almost pretty much everybody on the cast. I had alliances with almost pretty much everybody on the cast starting from night one. I had individual and group alliances with a lot of people. Just to name a few, we had a Coliseum alliance that started on night one. I had an alliance within that alliance with me, Molly, Ken, as well, and I kind of grew from there and tried to form my game around my alliances and how I could become in a more pivotal spot. I tried to put myself in a position where I was never in danger, especially because I knew my weakness coming into this game was going to be the physical challenges. I put myself in relationships where I knew there were going to be bigger threats than I were, especially when I aligned myself with Lee and Rounds. That was a big game decision for me, especially because I had already liked the two of them. We happened to end up together in a trio for a captain's challenge, and that sort of kind of carried me a lot throughout this game, and I appreciate that a lot. Other relationships that I had, me and Andrew even created an alliance with Rose. It didn't last very long, but we had an alliance that helped me further myself into the game because they were both people that I really liked, but I didn't have a great relationship with them at the time, so being able to kind of form that made me able to further myself into the game. I had alliances with Monty, I had alliances with Derek, and a lot of people just really wanted to work with me, and I put myself in a place where people were never really looking at me. I was getting a lot of information, and I was kind of the center of people's minds in the sense that everybody wanted to work with me, but I was never on the forefront of everybody's mind because of where I positioned myself. I have a lot to share about my game. I hope y'all can respect everything that I have to say, and I'm happy to answer any and all of your questions.
Hi guys. First, I just want to thank production for everything. You guys are incredible. Thanks for casting me. And I want to thank all of you beautiful people for making this such a wonderful experience. And most importantly, I want to thank Sam and Antoinette for this journey. I love you guys both so much. Whatever happens, friends for life. And now to get a little bit into the game. I came into this game not knowing fully what to expect. I was excited, I was nervous, but most of all I was ready. I was ready to play. I knew that my social game would be my strength. I have a very strong social game anytime I play, and I knew I would have to step up my strategic game, and I did that. I put myself in alliances and positions where I knew it would benefit me. I used shields to my advantage. I'm not afraid to admit that. I played loyally to the people that I wanted to be loyal to, but I also did lie at some points, and I did pretend that I didn't know as much as I did. One of the most important connections for me was Andrew. Andrew and I immediately, we decided that we were going to work together. Andrew and I actually, fun fact, have met before. We played Ascendance Unplugged 2 together, but we weren't exactly on the same page there, but that's ancient history. So that was a really important relationship for me, but the most important relationship by far was Antoinette. And that was one of the biggest risks I took in this game, involved Antoinette at Final 6. On Andrew's way out, he willed me his half pendant, and I thought, what can I do with this? I want to do something with this. And then we were doing the endurance challenge, and Reynolds and I were first to drop, so we had some time to chat. Reynolds had the half of Sam's pendant, and so Reynolds offered me to trade his full pendant, which was not a real pendant that you could play on yourself. It was a pendant of the protector. And so he offered me that in exchange for the other half. And that was risky as hell for me, but I like risks. I knew I didn't want to play scared this game, and I didn't do that. I took that risk, and I took that pendant, and I made sure to get my number one to the next vote with me, because if Antoinette had gone that round, if I had not had that pendant to save Antoinette, it is very possible that she would have gone home, and I would have lost my number one that I knew was always telling me the truth. Overall, I believe that I played a great game. I aligned myself with the right people at the right time. I made the right moves at the right time. I cut the right people when I needed to. It was obviously hard. The only time that I was completely shocked in this game was the Derek blindside. That was the only time I was shocked. Other than that, I knew exactly where the votes were going. I knew who was voting where. I knew what name was going to be the majority. I knew what name was going to be the minority. My name was only out there a couple times. I knew exactly who was voting for me when my name was out there. I knew exactly who wasn't voting for me. The Stevie round, when Stevie went home, I was nervous as hell, but I knew I wasn't going home unless there was a power. I knew that my people were voting for Stevie with me. I was positive on that. All in all, I had information coming at me from everybody at all times, and it was all true. I was never surprised except for the Derek vote. I knew where everyone was going every round, and the round that Rose went, it sucked, but I wanted Rose out because I wanted to take eyes off of the girls, because for some reason, the three girls were so fucking scary compared to the counting, all of you. For some reason, we were terrifying, but I knew that if Rose went, that it would take a little bit of eyes off of me and Antoinette, and it did, because look, we're sitting here. But yeah, all in all, I love you all so much, it's not even funny. I can't wait to hang out and party later. No matter what, love forever, and yeah, ask all the questions today.
All right, we will now switch over to the question portion of the finale. Derek, you're up first.
So first things first, I do want to say congratulations to all three of you. I'm super impressed by all of your games. If I could vote for all three of you, I would, but I can't. My question is, with the fluidity that this game really requires, I kind of want to hear a little bit of how you balance that out with loyalty. Can you each name some people that you were loyal to and one specific example of how you exemplified that? Start with Sam.
Yeah, so for my game, I think loyalty is big, but it also, I'll just be straight up, I put myself first. And I think everyone who's playing one of these games should. There's only one winner, and I think when we all enter this house, we all want that winner to be us. And so I was really loyal to the people that I worked with when I could be, but when it no longer worked for my game, I did have to make some hard decisions. That being said, the biggest loyalty move that I made that really did surprise me was working with you, Maddie. Like, when we got down to it, there was a scenario where there was just a win-win for us to work together. And we had a rocky relationship earlier in it, but at the lead vote out, there was some loyalty built between us, and we were able to use that as a bridge to work together. And I thought that was really cool, both in-game and out of game. So thanks for working with me on that. I saved you, you gave me captain, I gave you captain back, and I fully intended on doing it again. So I think that was a scenario where I was able to use loyalty that I believe was reciprocated in order to both help my game, but also create a win-win for someone else.
So a big thing for me in this game is loyalty. I've always struggled with keeping my relationships to myself a lot of the time, and being able to kind of maneuver who I've been working with. So in this game, loyalty was a big thing that I wanted to bring into this. Kind of similar to what he said, I did have to cut people when I had to, when it made sense for my game. However, one specific instance was my relationship with Maddie. With Maddie, our relationship didn't start off very strong. I think we got a lot better towards the beginning, or towards the middle, towards the end of the game, where I proved my loyalty to you, especially during the round where Alex went home. The round that Alex went home, it was going to be either Alex or Maddie. And I was kind of the decision between who was going to go home. I had approached Lee and Reynolds, and both of them kind of looked at me and said, what are we going to do here? At this point in the game, I had a better relationship with Maddie than I did with Alex. I had a good relationship with both of you at the time. However, that's just the way that the game worked out for me at that point.
So I definitely had trouble balancing loyalty, but I do believe that I was loyal to a few people. I was loyal to you, Derek, because during your vote I was blown away. I think Sam didn't mention that I was in on that vote, that I was in that elimination, but I was voting. So I was loyal to you. And the round that Jack went home the second time, I was loyal to Maddie because it was between him and Maddie, and I knew that Maddie had fight left in him. And I knew that Maddie being around was better for my games than Jack because Maddie and I had such a strong connection. And he had stayed up all night the night before to benefit our alliance, and I was not going to let him go out like that. I needed him to stay longer. I needed him to be able to be there for me, and I needed to be there for him.
Awesome. Thank you. Good luck to all three of you. Y'all are amazing players. You got here, but own it. Definitely listen to the questions that we're asking you. Answer as truthfully as you can. Thank you.
Alex, you're up next.
All right, so I'm here to make a statement, and that is coming from a man in a dress. So, number one, congratulations to all three of you. I'm very, very excited with this final three. Something that was really important to me in this game was to not expose or to say too much, because I didn't know who was working with whom, because it's always scary because you don't know who's connected, who knows each other, who may have played in games together, and that's a big deal for me because other than 2 rounds on fraud for Derek, I didn't know a soul. So finding out how many relationships there were in the game was a bit challenging for someone like me who felt a little doomed from the beginning. The last thing I'm going to bring up, unfortunately it's a little bit of an elephant in the room. I'm not trying to make anyone uncomfortable, but I do feel that it's worth noting. We all know that I was a big fan, we all know that I was very aware of optics in this game and the way things looked. I did not feel particularly comfortable with the amount of attention that women were getting as far as the votes go. We only had 5 women out of 18 players, and 3 of them were amongst the first 7 who were voted out. We had 7 players of color, and 5 of them were amongst the first 7 voted out. We only had 1 individual who was playing over the age of 40, and she was the first person voted out. I encourage, dare I say, challenge. It is really important that we look within ourselves and that we also challenge ourselves, challenge each other, and also encourage our community to just ask questions instead of dismissing or just saying it's a coincidence, to just ask why. Soapbox away. I hope that you all crush the rest of this. I'm very proud of all of you. To one of you, I'm not going to name names because I don't like telling people what to do. Shoulders back, say it with your chest. Other than that, you're all amazing. Yeah. Oh, my last point. There's only 1 man in a dress in this game, and he managed to make the jury portion, so I'm thankful for that.
Jack, you're up next.
So, throughout this game, I think we all hit a low. And I found that within myself, within that low, there is a fire that emerges and allows you to be able to say, I know what I have to do to get there. So, what I want is simple. Tell us what your low in this game was, what your rock bottom was, and tell us how that motivated you to get into one of those routines. We'll go from the back this time, so Molly.
Thank you. My low in this game was absolutely the round that Stevie went home. There was a room situation. Thank you for asking me about this because I wanted to talk about it more in my opening speech. That I had a pendant. For some reason, I guess you, Jack, have learned that I may have a pendant at the, what's it called, and I don't fault you at all for telling people in the game that, because that's scary information. It was not true, and I hit a low, and my low was that I kind of panicked and was crying on stop that round because I was like, guys, it's not true, I don't have it. Stevie is a way bigger threat. He will win all of the, like a bunch of the challenges. Like, he's a way bigger threat, vote him out. But of course I was panicking, and I knew I trusted my people not to vote me out, but I was worried that Stevie had a power. I was worried that Monty had a power that could save Stevie because Monty was throwing my name to the people that were voting to vote me instead of Stevie. I walked into the Coliseum and Monty was talking to a couple of people, I forget who, and he had said, we can get the numbers to do Molly. And I said, did you just say my name in front of me? And he said, yeah. And I said, okay. So at that point, I was like, I had a fire under me. It was my low, and that low gave me the fire to fight and make it clear that I was not going down.
Thank you, Molly. Antoinette.
Yeah, so I personally had a big low yesterday. When we were doing the Keep It Steady challenge, where, for those of you who aren't familiar, we were kind of on an unsteady surface holding a weighted ball above our head. I was in a position where I thought there was any round that I could go. I knew my name had already been out there. I know you had thrown it out. I know Sam had thrown it out. So my name was already out there, and yesterday was kind of a tough spot for me. I really wanted to win that challenge, and it was something that I really wanted for myself, because knowing that I didn't have a lot of physical competition wins, I wanted something for myself, and that was the one that I really wanted. And after that, I kind of sort of broke down, because my plan in this game of how I wanted to get to the end seemed to be crumbling before my eyes. There was an alliance between me, Molly, Andrew, and Monty to go to the Final Four. I again had an alliance with Lee and Reynolds, so I had multiple options of which way I could go. My alliance members started getting voted out. People started winning challenges that I didn't need winning challenges because they were my bigger targets. And it seemed like everything was just not going right for me. However, I took that and I made sure that the connections that I had built were strong enough to make sure that I was able to get to the end of this game.
Thank you, Antoinette. And finally, Sam.
Yeah, I had a lot of lows in this game. I stressed myself out a ton. I have so much anxiety, especially around these games. And every morning I would wake up with knots in my stomach, and it got to the point where a couple days in, I felt like I was a car that just ran out of gas. I didn't have anything left in the tank. And so I thought and I talked it out with some of the lovely production members, so it was really great to have their support. And ultimately on the other side, I made a decision. I said, I'm taking this very seriously. I'm putting so much pressure on myself. I need to have a little bit of fun in order to get myself out of this funk. And that's when I decided to wear the half pin around my neck. I said, you know what? I'm really struggling right now, and that's because I'm trying to play a perfect game. Let me do something a little fun and silly to get me out of my head and see if I can somehow finagle my way to the end and win after making myself a huge target and be a threat. However, my ultimate low was after a very difficult conversation I had with Maddie. It was hard talking about our game relationship, and it also talked about out of game. Afterwards, I broke down, and I was not doing well. It was very difficult. I think both of us were hurt, and I think both of us had reason to be. Coming out of that, I just let out my emotions. I cried a bit, and I said to myself, I have two options. I can either sink into this, and I can let myself fall, and I can throw away this experience, or I can take my one shot that I've been given and was so lucky to have to come out here, and I can turn it around. And I said my mantras: I have power, I have hope, I'm safe, I'm secure, and I can do hard things. And with those mantras in my mind, it powered me to continue forward and get myself to the end.
Thank you to the three of you. You have fought to be here. You have shown right. And I just want you to know, all you have left is 5 questions in this speech. That is it. Your end is in sight. Fight, because you deserve it.
Lee, you're up next.
Hi there. Relax. I can see the tension. Please just there's no hard question coming for me, so just relax your shoulders a little bit, please. Here's my question, because there was a lot of times I think we had to remind ourselves we were having fun, even convince ourselves we were having fun. And so I want to know from you, how did you make the game more fun? And I'm going to start with Antoinette.
So one of the ways that I made this game more fun for myself was after I took a tumble down a hill. I really looked at it as a time where I always look at myself so critically, and I wanted to kind of make light of it, and the fact that I was like, oh my god, everyone's gonna be looking at me, I'm gonna look so stupid, everyone's gonna look at me like I'm weak. And I think since the actual fall happened, which it was a series of multiple small falls, I got back up all 3 times. I've made a joke of it pretty much since it happened. I finally uncovered the scrape today for the first time, so that's fun. So I definitely tried to make the game more fun for myself, especially because, like I mentioned, I do think I give myself such a hard time.
Oh my gosh, I had a lot of fun this game. I'm going to take a little bit of a different approach. I made the most fun a little bit in between actual rounds and the downtime of strategy. I was like, in any downtime, I was like, how can I make this the most fun for everybody? And so there were little things like me and Andrew constantly, get on your feet, get up and make it happen. And I would just try to put people at ease and try to make people laugh, joke around, sing karaoke, thank you Charlie. I would suggest little games and just try to make things less stressful and everything for everyone, because I know we were all stressed 90% of the time we were here, let's be honest. Running around outside, hunting for powers like madmen, running down the hill to the gate where there was never anything, running around outside, running down to the pool. Oh, maybe there's something under the pool. Let me lie down under the pool chairs and see if there's anything under there. Nope. Just feeling like I was on a scavenger hunt, and just trying to make the most fun conversations I could with everybody.
For me, the name of the game was how can I have fun? And a big thing for me with fun, I'm sure a lot of people in this room, is I love a good game, and more importantly, I love a problem to solve. And so I think I had a lot of fun on a lot of challenges, finding not only a way to win, but a fun, weird, creative way to win. It was me who came up with hey, let's dip it, drink the water, get another scoop, leave. I got you to dip a sponge in and squeeze it in your mouth, and I appreciate you for following through with that crazy, goofy plan. But it was cool because I felt it was also optimal. And so I was able to marry problem solving with having fun. Another example is in the Connect 4+4 challenge, when I realized if I start throwing these discs as frisbees, it's going to allow my teammate to not have to run as far, and it's going to allow us to get many more pieces in. And so finding creative, funny, weird strategies that are outside of the box, that's a blast for me.
Thank you all. You made the game more fun for me, so I'm so glad to hear how you had fun, and I wish you all the best of luck.
Up next we have Andrew.
Congratulations, Final 3. You are all very deserving of making it to the end and very deserving of winning this game. But it is time for a hard-hitting question, unfortunately. So, there are 8 jurors, and the question I have for all 3 of you is, if you could not be sitting in that Final 3 chair, who most deserves to sit in that chair and why? and of the jurors, and who least deserves to sit in the chair and why. And since Papa loves twists, you can only select each juror once. So 6 of us are going to be selected by you.
You know, I gotta say, I gotta go with the person who, if there's someone who at round of, 10, gets called out on someone's way out as this person is gonna win the game, and they fought like hell and almost freaking made that happen, and also was the name everyone was scared to say all season, I do have to give it to our 4th place finisher Reynolds, because you played a hell of a game, and you were already playing a hell of a game, but then to get that said on Alex's way out, I was like, if I were you, I'd be shaking in my boots, because now everyone's like, even more eyes on you, and you still fought like hell, and you played your way all the way to the very end, and so I do got to give it to Reynolds.
Thank you. And Jack?
I'm gonna go with Jack. Jack, I know. For Jack, you played an extremely incredible game, and I've admired a lot how you've played this game and how you've fought and how much you've had to fight throughout this game. I would have loved to see you sitting in these seats, and I know it's been an uphill battle for you for almost the entirety of the game, and that's something that I respect, especially having been someone who's been in that position before. I really admire that, and I would have loved to see you make your journey complete by ending here as well.
And Molly?
The person I think most deserves to sit here, I'm going to have to say Lee. I think Lee was playing a phenomenal game the entire time. No one had said his name. No, he didn't get any votes until he went home. Everyone felt amazing with him. Everyone I talked to was like, oh yeah, I really feel good with Lee. Lee's gonna work with me. Lee's been voting with me. I felt great with Lee. I was thinking to myself, oh no, I think I feel great with Lee. I think we have a great relationship, a great working relationship. It seems like everyone does. But again, even despite all of that, despite everyone feeling great with Lee for the longest time, no one was voting him out. He was just killing it. And I think that if he was sitting here, he would have absolutely destroyed us. So I think Lee deserves to be sitting here.
Okay. So Reynolds, Jack, and Lee are out of play. Now we're going to start with Molly with who you think least deserves to sit in that chair. And this is not politics, it's Ascendance, so we all 3 do have to answer.
Oh, this is tough. The person I think least deserves to sit in this chair, I'm going to have to say Alex, unfortunately. I think that Alex is incredible, but I don't think Alex was playing as hard as some of the rest of us. I think Alex, like he said in his statement, he wasn't really throwing names or pushing too hard for votes because he wasn't sure who was connected to who, and to me, that just puts a little bit of negative marks in his column. So unfortunately, Alex.
Thank you. Antoinette?
Unfortunately, and I hate to say this, I'm going to say Derek. Derek, only because not only are you the first juror, but it took a blindside to get you out. And in that way, people didn't, I would say, as far as the relationships that you had, they could have been stronger, they could have been more well-rounded, and when people saw the opportunity to take a shot at you, they did. And that's something that I personally tried to avoid. And I think that, not that you're not deserving to be here, but I have to make an answer, and that's correct.
Thank you. And send your choices are myself, Monty, and Matt.
Yeah, I think, I hate to say it because you asked the question, but I'm going to go with you, Andrew. And I think you played a great game, but I think we think very similarly, and I think you're super smart, and I really enjoyed working with you, but I just don't think that when I look around at the rest of the competition, I don't necessarily see your marks as being as high as some others in different categories. You have a very, very high score for me in terms of making strategic plans, but I didn't see you as well connected as some of the other people on the cast. And so when it came time to make the plans, I don't think you had as much pull as some of the people you're sitting next to. And then I'll also just throw in, you didn't tell me about the other half of the pendant. I would have loved to know, buddy.
I wanted you to give it to me.
But I totally, like, I felt great with us, and I very, very possibly would have. I think I would have. And so I also think that's a big misplay, and that's why you're sitting in that chair. And if that wasn't the play, then I think you would be in one of those chairs or one of these chairs. So that's why I want to say that.
All right, thank you. Good luck to all three of you.
Monty, you're up next.
Congratulations for sitting in the final three. My question is, it kind of changed as I was sitting here. If you had to give yourself a title or an archetype, what would it be and why?
I would probably give myself the title of social butterfly. I think that's an acceptable archetype. I feel like I just was constantly flitting around to everybody, talking to everybody. Everyone seemed to feel good with me. I felt good with everyone. I said in one of my downloads, I was like going through the people left in the game, and I was like, oh, I feel amazing with all of these people, and they have all told me they feel great with me.
Yeah, I'm torn between two, but you asked for one, so I'm going to do my best to keep it to one. I think I'll probably go with independent, or perhaps lone wolf. I think in this game, I utilized a lot of connections, and I absolutely would not be here without those connections helping me. I mean, I see all of you over there, and I can think of multiple instances in which I really needed other people to make a plan happen. But for the most part, I think everything I did in this game was very independently minded and solely driven by what do I think for Sam's game is the best move that is going to get me to the end and put me in seats next to folks that I'm okay with facing rather than some of the bigger in-game threats in my view of the game.
I don't know if this is really a correct answer, but I would say passionate. I'm someone who puts 110% into everything I do, especially in these games, and I came into this game wanting to get to the end. I didn't want to just make jury. I didn't want to just make the final. I wanted to make it to the end and win. I have been so passionate about this game and this community for so long, and every move that I made and every decision that I made had a reason. And it had a reason to push me forward, as well as on top of the theme that I mentioned earlier of flexibility. I wanted to remain flexible and within the great relationships that I made, while also remaining loyal as much as I could as well. And I put a lot of passion into those relationships and into the game that I played, and I hope that some of the tears that I have shed have shown that as well. But it means a lot to be here, and it means a lot to me to have been able to play a game with you people and be as passionate as a person as I am.
Thank you. Good luck, y'all.
Maddie, you're up next.
Congratulations, you guys. I'm so proud of all of you. You've each played very distinct, fantastic games. I feel like I know a lot about your moves, having worked with each of you closely, so instead like to quiz you on your awareness of what the jury might be thinking right now. So if you could all please close your eyes and raise your hand if you think that Derek will vote for you to win. Thank you. Raise your hand if you think Alex will vote for you to win. Jack? Lee? Thank you. Andrew? Cool. Monty? Thank you. Maddie? Okay. Reynolds. Alright, thanks guys. You can open your eyes. no matter what happens, be proud. You played one of the hardest games there is out there and made it to the end. Good job.
And finally, we have Reynolds.
Congratulations, y'all. A little jealous, but it is what it is. I'm very happy for all of you. For my question, I really want to know some points as to why your fellow finalists shouldn't win. We can start with Sam.
Yeah, I think both of you played great games, and I think if this were a competition of who was the most well-liked by the cast, I would think it should go to one of you two. But when we're talking about who played the best game and had the most impact on the season, I think the two people beside me simply did not have nearly as many moves that they can call entirely their own. I don't think they made big moves that influenced the course of the season. They were a part of moves, and they might have nudged things along. But when I'm looking at their games, I think a weakness that I see is that there wasn't that resume at the end.
I think that Sam and Antoinette both played amazing games. I think that where Sam is weak is that he maybe might have mismanaged jury a little bit. I think his jury management was a lot weaker than mine was. I think he could have done a lot better with that. Jury management is a huge part of this game. You have to think about it. Making moves and all is great, but you have to make them in the correct way. Antoinette's game, I feel like, is a little weaker than mine because, like Sam said, we both were a duo. But I feel like I was maybe a little bit more aggressive with saying where I wanted things to go sometimes. That's not to knock her at all. I think she played phenomenally, but I think she did maybe play a little less.
Yeah, so I'll start with Sam. I adore your game, I adore you. However, I think you lied a little bit more than you needed to. I know as someone who tends to lie a lot in these games, I didn't want to come into this game doing that. With this game, there's a balance between how much truth you should be telling versus how many lies. And I might be a little biased about this, but also throwing out people's names when you didn't need to. I think that he could have made better relationships as far as so that he didn't have to play independently and beat that lone wolf that he has been talking about throughout this finale. I think with Molly's game, I love you, I adore you. I think with Molly's game, even though we were a duo and she had connections, I feel like I had more connections in this game. I feel like that I had a good relationship with almost each and every one of you. And I feel like every person has had some sort of impact on my game, and I can confidently say that. With Molly's game, I feel like we had a relationship, but I feel like you did rely on me as far as the joint vote, as far as keeping me safe, which I very much appreciate you keeping me safe, but keeping me in this game. But I had other relationships that I can fall back on and ultimately get myself in.
Awesome. Thank you all so much. I love you all dearly, and I can't wait to see you next.
All right, we'll move to closing speeches. Molly, you're up first.
All right, thank you all for the questions. I feel like I covered a lot of my game and was able to shine a light on any uncertainty. Like I said in my opening, I was an incredibly social player. I had connections with all of you, and I believe they were extremely strong. I used all of that to my advantage at every moment in this game. I always knew what was going on. I always knew what the majority was, what the minority was. I knew where everyone was voting, even when it was me. But I trusted my social game so much that I would not be going home. The only thing that was going to send me out was a power. I voted at every tribal or every elimination I was eligible to vote at, besides one of you, I voted you out. So that I was eligible to vote at. Alex and Lee, I was not voting at your eliminations. I didn't vote you out. And Derek, you were my blind side. The rest of you, I voted you out, even though it was incredibly difficult emotionally. I'm an emotional person. I'm an emotional player. I'm not ashamed of that. I think I was probably one of the most, if not the most emotional player this season. There's going to be a B-roll, it's a B-roll, I don't even know. There's going to be like a reel of me crying constantly or talking about tacos. I made a lot of new friends. The connections I built here are unbelievable. And what's the word? Irreplaceable, priceless. Priceless, that's the word. Like no amount of yay, winning, whatever, like will replace the connections that I've made here. It's been fun though. It's been an absolute adventure of a lifetime, and I'm so proud of all of you in this room, every single person in this house, for making this such a beautiful, beautiful journey. And I believe I deserve to vote. I believe I played the best game. And yeah, no matter what happens, we're all gonna party later. Okay, love you guys.
So, like I said, I came into this game wanting to win. I was vulnerable for probably 95 to 98% of all the eliminations in this game, and I didn't receive a vote until Jack threw out my name. Even after Sam threw out my name, I still did not receive a vote because everybody shut that down immediately, and that's just a testament to how well my relationships have been built to that point in the game. Up until today, I had only had 2 votes against me. Today made it 4, so it sucks. But I have played a really strong game socially. My strategic game has been formed based off of my social game, and I hope that all of you can see that. I really took into account loyalty. I took into account everyone's feelings as far as how much I wanted to make sure that even if I voted you out, which most of you I did vote out, I wanted to make sure that there was still some kind of relationship there because I do cherish each and every one of you, including the pre-jury, including jury, and I didn't vote either of you out, but I appreciate your relationships as well. So I am extremely confident in the game that I've played, and that's not something that I normally say, and I would be very happy to receive your votes today. And yeah, again, like Molly said, thank you to everybody who's been a part of this. This experience has been absolutely fantastic, and this has been my first real live game, and I've had an absolute blast being able to have this experience with all of you people. So.
Yeah, you've kind of all really, you've heard my pitch, you've heard my game, you played the game with me, you know how I played, you know the moves I made, and I just want to once again highlight just how much of this game I just want to highlight the guts that I played this game with. I didn't take the easy way out ever. This was a game that every game has a different vibe, and the vibe of this game, in my opinion, was pretty safe. It was a lot of backroom talking, lots of secrets, lots of whispers. No one wants to say name first, no one wants to be bold or take risks. I was that person that came out and would say the names out loud. No one wanted to say Derek, no one wanted to say Lee, no one wanted to say Reynolds. I was the one who was not afraid to do that. And not only was I not afraid to do that, I was able to back it up by winning competitions and sending those people out. The competitions I won were not easy. I mean, it was the hardest thing in the world to stand there with that freaking ball over my head. Maddie gave me a really good fight at that. That was insane. The final physical competition, running up and down that hill, that was a lot. Replicate with the memory, remembering things over and over. And I fought like hell in the team comps to make sure that my team won to ensure that I got safety. And outside of the challenge ability, I was vulnerable several rounds late in the game. And in those rounds, I was always made co-captain due to my ability to pose a win-win scenario to the person in front of me who had the captain position, and my ability to build relationships that worked for both of us and ultimately allowed me to land in these seats. Lastly, I'm really proud of the game I played, and I've worked my ass off to get here. I'd really love to win. Vote for who you think the best player is, and I think that person is me.
All right, the power now shifts to the hands of the jury. One by one, all 8 jury members will go and cast their vote for a winner. Please make sure we're voting for a winner. We don't want no topazes here. Say it every season. Winner, winner. We're not voting to eliminate, win. All right, we will go vote. Alex, you're up first. I have the votes. Who wants to hear them? Derek has voted for Sam to win.
This is a great season. With everything said and done, this person spoke really well tonight. It wasn't a game that I necessarily relate to, but it was one that I really enjoyed being able to watch and see in live action.
Alex has voted for Antoinette to win.
What a season. It has been a pleasure, it has been a treasure. I'm so thrilled I got to not only be a part of it, but also to be casting a vote for a winner amongst 3 very dynamic and very fabulous players. Ultimately, I do have to roll with the fact that certain people are being targeted based on the fact that a lack of a Y chromosome apparently makes you a threat. And also, you know, I appreciate losing to someone who started at the starting line with me.
Jack has voted for Antoinette to win. That is 2 votes Antoinette, 1 vote Sam.
All 3 genuinely deserve to win this game. And my heart got pulled by all 3 at all different points. Sam won it, and Antoinette won it, and Molly won it, and Antoinette won it, and Sam won it, and Molly won it, and it kept going and going and going and going. And at the end, it was incredibly close. But the person that deserves to win this season is the one who, above all of the chaos and insanity, was untouchable, no matter what happened.
Lee has voted for Sam to win. We are tied. 2 votes Antoinette, 2 votes Sam.
I have gone back and forth on this and changed my mind 15 times. I came into this with one name in mind that was going to get my vote no matter what happened, and I think they kind of lost it for themselves, unfortunately. There's 2 people here that probably have been seen and talked a lot as the least deserving, and I have a hell of a lot of respect for someone who, despite being the talk of the town, took a lot of accountability for their game, even if I didn't always agree with it when we were in the game together. I saw you talk about your game tonight with joy. I saw you talk about your game tonight with honesty. And I saw you not afraid of how others were going to perceive your answers. It was just how you felt.
Andrew has voted for Molly to win.
Okay, you have done an amazing job. You have made Ascendance Unplugged Season 2 so proud. Everyone from Dusty, Scarlett, Jenny, Rachel, Casey, Tyler, Alex, Emily, HGC, Mike, Owen, and most importantly myself. So proud. I'm so proud of you.
Monty has voted for Molly to win. We are tied. 2 votes Antoinette, 2 votes Molly, 2 votes Sam, 2 votes left.
I think our games, we had our ups and our downs, and I think tonight I do think you are a social queen and you got yourself in some tricky situations and was able to get yourself out. There's something about you that I was connected with from the start, and I think you have a well-rounded game.
Maddie has voted for Antoinette to win. That is 3 votes Antoinette, 2 votes Molly, 2 votes Sam, 1 vote left.
This is the person who managed to get to the end with the 2 people that I would have thought that I had the best chance to win sitting next to. So amazing, fantastic job. You played with heart, you overcame challenges, and you had all of the right relationships, not knowing a single person coming into this game. This is your first LRG and you absolutely killed it and nailed out that last win exactly when you needed to.
And it all comes down to Reynolds. Reynolds has voted for the winner of Ascendance Season 6.
For this vote, it's very difficult. I feel like they've all played good games, but I do think there's one person that played just a little bit better, didn't play as messy, and I think they would represent Season 6 out of the 3 of them the best.
Boy, do I feel dumb right now. Turns out Reynolds was right. Antoinette was a big jury threat, and I think I have a lot to learn about how these games are played. It's very clear to me now that the social game is much more important than I had considered. Juries are unpredictable and they want different things. And this jury didn't want big moves, they wanted someone who they liked. And unfortunately, on this game, that person wasn't me. However, I can say for me, this was a very personal journey and I overcame a lot to get here. I'm really, really proud of the game that I played, and honestly, looking back, there's not really anything I would do differently. I think I made the best decisions that I could with the information that I had, and fighting with my back against a wall for several days is something that no one can take away from me. I loved this experience, the whole cast was phenomenal. I think Antoinette is the phenomenal winner, and it was really cool to see her so excited about the victory. There was also a second victory, and sitting at the end next to my girl Boston Mall, from round 1 I said we'll be Boston Mall and Samba, and we're gonna make it to the end together. Unfortunately, neither of us took it, but that's okay. Lastly, I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who watched this and everyone who put this together, because this has been the experience of a lifetime. If you're watching at home, you should definitely consider applying, because this will push you to your limits, you'll make lifelong friends, and have a blast while doing so.
I cannot believe that all of that happened the way that it did. First of all, I need to thank every single member of production for allowing me to play this incredible, incredible game. You have no idea how much you changed my life. I met so many new, incredible people, and I was able to reconnect with old friends that I hadn't seen in a while. You all made this experience absolutely incredible. I am beyond proud of the game that I played. I think I played one of the best games that I've ever played in my life. I have absolutely no regrets. I couldn't be more thrilled with the outcome. Everyone here was just such a beautiful, incredible person and had so many things to give to this game and so many things to give to me personally in life. It's true what they say about these games. They change your life forever. This has been the most incredible experience. I couldn't be more honored to have played this game, and I had so much fun. Thank you so much to all of you.
Oh my god. Oh, that's crazy. I've never won a game before. I've been in this community a long time, and this means a lot to me. I appreciate each and every one of you for making this experience incredible. Thank you to everybody. Literally, I know we just said thank you to everybody. Thank you to everybody. this has been an incredibly amazing experience, and I never thought I could do this, and I'm so happy that I decided to do this because I never thought I could win, and now I'm here. It means a lot.
This game has meant absolutely everything to me. I've never won a game before, and being a part of the Ascendance community for about 4 to 5 years now has meant everything to me, just to feel included. And I want to say thank you to everyone who's come along my path in this game and in the past, and I did it. I won. I did the thing. I'm very ecstatic to be here, and coming from somebody who has struggled a lot with self-confidence and perseverance, this is something that I will hold with me for a long time. I'm very proud of the game that I played. I'm very proud that I've gotten the opportunity to show other people how proud I am of my game, and just having the recognition from other people that I didn't just slide along, or I didn't just play the minimum game that I needed to play, that I actually played a good game, and that people respect the way that I played means a lot to me, and I'm really proud of that. I extremely appreciate all of the relationships I've made here and in the past. It's truly amazing that I've been able to work with and play with and get to know all of these incredible people that have had some kind of impact on my journey thus far.
I can't believe I won season 6 of Ascendance Live. That's it.
You better start believing.
That's it.